We have all heard that we are the creators of our own reality. So, if we are really the creators of our reality, the question arises, how do we do it? How do we transform our lives, our bodies, our relationships, our mental health, and other areas too? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Navid Times Talk from the Heart. Our guest today is Dr. Meghna Dixit. She is an Ayurveda physician, author, life coach, guru, and many, many other hats she wears. Hello, doctor, and welcome to our show.
Thank you very much. Very, very happy to be here.
So, doctor, an Ayurveda physician, a therapist, and now a healer, life coach. How did this come to be?
Well, I graduated as an Ayurvedic physician in 1997 and I started my practice immediately. And when I started my practice, back then people used to reach out to Ayurvedic physicians when they had lost all hopes in their life. So at a very young age, I was fortunate enough to deal with critical cases like cancer, autoimmune disorders like ankylosing spondylitis, rheumatoid arthritis, and gut issues, IBS, and thyroid, PCOD, unexplained infertility, etc., etc. So when I started working with these people, Ayurveda always speaks about it's the first. I mean, when it talks about the body, it also talks about the mind. That very few people understand this connection, and people, when they look at Ayurveda, they generally think it's more of bitter kadas and tablets and churnas, and it's a long process, and don't know if it will work or not work. So our psychology around our own ancient Indian wisdom, especially the medical one, has developed over the last few centuries. That talks about we don't respect what we already have, and we generally look for outside resources, right? Which is okay, fair and square, because you've been ruled by the countries outside. So naturally it's going to happen, and your own confidence in your own self starts shaking. While I was working with these people, they also had the similar mindset that they're going to give it a try, where anyway, nothing is working, let me see if this works. So I used to get people, mostly those who, it's funny, but they mostly would be regretting their decision to come, and they're thinking that, okay, I don't know, and things, and sometimes people in their lives have dragged them. And it was interesting to watch all of these people. And what happened to me in that time was, I was a very passionate young girl, young doctor, who felt that there is so much Ayurveda has to offer, and unfortunately the marketing of Ayurveda has happened in terms of it's more of panchkarma treatments. Like if you today also see people think of it as like doing panchkarma, doing massages, and all those things, and medicines. But there's a huge aspect of Ayurveda which is talks about Agata Tantra, and Agata Tantra is all about mental health. And Ayurveda speaks about, if your body is unwell, you have to first look at what's going on in your mind. And nobody back then was talking about this, or neither promoting about this. Nobody ever explained. I didn't see any Ayurvedic doctor, and it's not their fault, because people were not ready to listen to this. So when I got an opportunity of dealing with these critical cases which they had lost all the hopes, I decided to take a different approach with them, and I started documenting their histories. What do I mean by their histories is their own life story. So if they were not born with the disease, there must be some pathophysiology in the body that created the disease. And how does one create the disease? Disease comes from dis-ease. So whenever you lose ease in your life, you create disease. And these people were coming up with critical diseases, right? These are like, I'm thinking, what must have happened in their body, or how did they create this disease? Their body, how did it create this disease? And sometimes if you look at the autoimmune disorders, it's basically your own body cells going against your body, right? So where is the war happening inside you? Now, for your own body to look at you as you're an enemy, there must be something deeper there. So when I was taking the history of these people and I was documenting all the stories of theirs, I realized there are prominent impacts on their life that happened with either one event that was traumatic in their life that changed the course of their life, or there were continuous few experiences that they had. Like, I will give you simple examples like comparison, competition, going through the guilt and shame and regret, making a decision because of some sort of a compromise that they had to do in their life. And when they look back, I mean, there is a part of their mind which keeps looking back and holding back onto that event or that particular moment, which kind of made them vulnerable. And that was causing toxic chemicals in their body. And then eventually these toxic chemicals, like if you have every day, you have your body is creating poison every day, what's going to happen to your body is ultimately it's going to turn into disease. So my journey of changing the course of the work that I do today is the realization that the illness in the body is created because of the mind. 99% of our diseases are psychosomatic. So why should I wait for people to come to me when they fall sick or when they have critical illnesses? Why can't I help people with their challenges way before they create these diseases in their body? And that's where my journey started, with working on people's body, mind and emotions together. Right. So that it starts impacting not just their body, but their relationships, their career, their money, and holistic way of living a successful life.
Wow. You're right when you said initially we used to not believe that our mind had anything to do with our physical state. But today the mindset has changed. Today we are very open. We have realized the importance, right? So Doctor, you have been practicing for more than 25 years, and you have been very successful in transforming people, helping people transform their lives. How would you define success?
That's a wonderful question, and for success for me, I feel is to be able to do what I said and what I thought. And when I say that, I mean every person is unique, and every person has their own dreams and their own desires in their life, right? And every stage of your life, probably definition of success will change. When you're younger, your success is getting good marks in your exams, and then eventually it becomes like finding a right career for yourself. Then after some time it becomes like, okay, getting a great job or starting a business, making a lot of money. Then it becomes like, having your own stability. Then eventually it turns into maybe having the right partner, and so on and so forth. And I feel that definition of success for every person changes from time to time. Now, for me, success means freedom of time and freedom of choice. And for me, that's my definition. And when I have freedom of time and freedom of choice, that I can go anywhere I want, today I want to choose to do something, I should be able to do it because I have enough time and enough money and great energy. Right? So for me, that's success. So I would rather say that every individual should come up with what's their definition of success.
Right. But your definition sounds very unique, sounds very interesting. So I'm sure many of us would like to work towards that. That, when we have our own time and we have time to do what we want to and what we like to, I think that adds a lot of quality to our lives. Right? Now, we just spoke about how the body and the mind are connected. How are the body, the mind, and success blocks connected?
Okay, so as I was talking earlier also about my journey towards this, right? So the realization of my journey came where I was talking about the blocks in our body, where the blocks that we have created in our space from the past experiences that you have been through. So what happens is every single moment we are at least gathering 40,000 bits of information through our 5 senses. Mm-hmm. And these 5 senses is gathering huge information. Thanks to today with the internet, we have access to a lot of information. But when you attach a meaning to that information, Now, meaning would be attaching your emotions to that information. And once you attach that meaning to that information, it starts creating a certain neuro pathways in your brain. And from brain to body, then the chemical supply starts. And when the chemical supply starts, your quality of your life depends on the chemicals that are produced in your body. And these are the chemicals that are making 95% of your decisions every single day on autopilot. Because see, on an average, a human being makes about 35,000 decisions every single day. And if I have to ask you, how many decisions did you make yesterday that you remember? And you would hardly remember 2 or 3 decisions.
Absolutely.
Right?
True.
So just 2 or 3 decisions are the conscious decisions. So imagine 34,997 decisions are on automation, on autopilot. Then who's making this decision? Where is your mind? Your mind is basically your body. And your body stores every experience that you've been through since whatever is your current age, since the time of birth. And repetition of those experiences, if suppose there are positive experiences, it's going to release positive hormones, chemicals in your body like dopamine, oxytocin, endorphin, serotonin. And if you don't have positive experiences, and if you are more focused on the negative experiences that you had in the past, you are automatically going to release adrenaline and cortisol. These are the stress hormones. So, most often we think that stress is only like, when we fall down and when we fall sick, or maybe there is something that's going, in outside world. But very rarely we realize that there is most of our stress comes from our own emotional stress,
from within,
right? From within, because we are constantly thinking about those past triggers that have, or past experiences that have happened in our life. And one part of your brain is constantly focusing on those triggers because it wants you to avoid the future consequences. So imagine a part of you, it's like there are assigned army or the crew members in your team are only focusing on the negative. And they are giving this constant information to your brain and your body that there is negative. And these are the 2 glands in your brain, which is called as amygdala.
Okay.
And these amygdalas are constantly focusing on the past, or whatever their job is also looking at what attack is coming to you now. So to keep you safe and comfortable.
So basically what you're saying, we are in the flight or fight mode, right?
Absolutely. Because whenever you're under emotional stress, you are on fight and flight mode, and very rarely we look at those things and we think that, okay, I'll do 15 minutes of meditation, or I'll do some affirmations, I'll do this. It's say half an hour of your 24 hours that
Right.
You're consciously doing these practices. But what about those rest of the hours? What's going on inside you on automation that you're not even aware of? And that's where the whole body-mind connection comes in, that it's not separate, it's one.
It's not only that half an hour that we are speaking about that you just mentioned, that where we are doing our meditation, we are doing maybe our yoga and the affirmations. So besides that half an hour that we are speaking about, the 23 hours, 23.5 hours are also very important, and it's how we think.
They are the most important. I would reiterate it that
Okay.
way, not those half an hour.
Right.
So the rest of the hours that you're not aware of what you're doing, those are the ones that creating the results in your life.
Wow. Makes a lot of sense. It's a different way of looking at it, because I always thought, okay, I'm meditating, so I'm better than many. But so you spoke about how we need to look after ourselves, our thoughts during the entire 24 hours of the day. Which are the areas, the primary areas in our life that we need to make changes so that we can see changes in other parts of our life?
So primary areas is, see, there are 4 major areas of our life: health, relationships, career, and money. Now, unfortunately, for the entire of our childhood and our college years and subsequently, we focus on only one area, that is developing a career so that it gives us money to then live our life, right? Most often, if you look, not most often, if you look at a human being operates on 4 dimensions: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And our 1/4 of our life, the first, if I consider 100 years of our living, then 1/4 of our life in the initial stages, which are very critical stages to develop our future life, are spent only on the physical dimension, developing physical dimension. So we don't focus on emotions, we don't focus on mental, and we don't focus on spiritual. Now imagine if you all your life is focusing on the 25% of your potential. The kind of results that you will be creating are going to be 25%. And no wonder most people, in spite of having great skills, great capabilities, and great experience, are today exhausted, burnt out, and anxious that they are not getting what they want. Because ideally, when you look back on your life, you feel, oh my God, I've done a lot of work, but why don't I have the results to show for it?
True.
Why few people are extremely successful and effortlessly successful? Anything they touch turns into gold. Are they lucky, or are they doing something different that's creating these results? No, they're not lucky. Results in their life because the work that has happened in the rest of the 3 areas of their life. And if you look at our lives, most of our lives, education, society, culture teaches us today on developing a career. So our focus entirely since childhood is on the career. And the 3 areas are neglected: are health, relationships, and money. Tell me, which school actually teaches you how to take care of your health properly, your mental, physical, emotional health? Which school teaches you to build relationships, develop great relationships? And which school today teaches you to manage your money since childhood? Now, do you agree with me that these are the 3 most important areas of our life, and most of the people face challenges in these 3 areas?
That's
and
true.
None of the school since childhood prepares you for that. So my suggestion is, it's time for us to focus on our mental, emotional, and spiritual health so that we start developing better relationships, better health, and better money for ourselves. Because let's be honest, the quality of relationships that you have in your life determines the quality of life. The quality of health you have in your life determines the quality of your life. The quality of money that you have in your life determines the quality of your life.
Right,
So
right.
all 4 are important. So it's time for us to focus on, and we have seen in the last 3 years of pandemic that no matter how much good career you have or how great money you have, your health is the prime most important thing, because it doesn't last and you have to take care of it. So I think these are the 3 areas I personally suggest everyone to take care of. Learn how to manage your money, how to make more money, how to be sensible about it. Work on your money blueprints, that is your blocks about money. A lot of us have blocks about money, especially if you are born in a middle class family, that the blocks are like, money doesn't grow on trees, or we are not that rich. Don't spread your don't like in Hindi they say, apni jitni chadar hai utne pair phailao. Money doesn't grow on trees. These are common sentences that we hear, right? And live in your means, or we can't afford it, and things like that. And relationships, if you look at, this is the most ignored area. Once you are in a relationship, you stop focusing on working on the relationship. But while we know that relationships is a constant work in progress,
We take it for granted.
Yeah, we take it for granted. And if you look at the successful people, these are the people, those who have the most enriching relationships, not just the personal, but even social and professional. Because today your network is your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
And if your networks are not powerful, your net worth is not going to be powerful. So my suggestion that people should first focus on emotional, mental, and spiritual health, and then focus on the health, relationships, and money area, to then start focusing on their what does success mean to them eventually.
You have said so much which makes so much of sense, and it's taking time for me to absorb, because It's really deep what you are saying, and it's so true. We don't, from the time we are in school and we are growing up, we all work towards the ideal career, and that career will give us money. We do not think about our mental well-being. We do not talk about spirituality. But doctor, with the pandemic, that shift from only your career and only money has shifted, luckily, so it has been good. There is always a silver lining to everything that happens, and it has brought the focus now on building relationships, on building your having a good, strong spiritual life as well. To our next question is, now you spoke about writing your affirmations and manifestations that come with these affirmations. It sounds very easy, it sounds okay, you do it and definitely whatever you have affirmed and will manifest itself. But it is not, I can tell you that. And we always have the problem with our willpower. Like at the beginning of every year, everyone makes resolutions that I'm going to lose so much of weight, I'm going to stop eating this. I do that every time. I say I am going to cut down on my sweet. I do it for the first 2-3 days, and by the 4th day it's like it's okay, So how do we increase our willpower, the quality of that willpower, which takes root and helps us to achieve other things?
So from your question, what I understand, it's a 2-part question. First is about the manifestation, and the second is about how to increase the willpower. So I'm going to first talk about the manifestation part, right? So as I was talking earlier, people think that doing half an hour of work on their future goals and visualize it and write the affirmations is going to give them the results that they want. And that's the furthest from the truth. Okay, because you are manifesting 24 hours, all 7 days, and round the year. It's not that half an hour, again and again. See, people have most misunderstood law of attraction. Suppose a human being is a magnet, and you are living on a huge magnet called Earth, which has got North Pole and a South Pole.
Right.
Do you know that the human body has North Pole and a South Pole?
Yes.
In fact, everything on this planet has a North Pole and a South Pole. Even an egg, if you see, on the top of the egg is North Pole and the bottom of the egg is South Pole. Same goes with the human body. Your tip of the head is positive current, that's a North Pole, and your bottom of the spine is a South Pole, that's a negative current.
Right.
So you are a magnet. And tell me something, if you are a magnet, can you only work for half an hour and not rest of the 23.5 hours? A magnet has to work all 24 hours, right?
Yes.
It has no choice, but it will work that way. So people make this huge mistake thinking that if I do this work for half an hour towards my manifestation, my life is going to change. No, it's not going to change. It may change marginally.
Okay.
It's the rest of the 23 hours what you do unknowingly, that is a manifestation happening. In fact, the life that you're leading today is nothing else but the manifestation of your own self. So what you need to understand before you start manifesting, there are 2 other laws that work before law of attraction.
Okay.
There's one, the first law that works before law of attraction is law of vibration. Now, law of vibration means what kind of electromagnetic frequency are you sending out? You are spreading those electromagnetic frequencies, those who are attracting the results in your life.
All right.
So your life is your responsibility, and the law of vibration doesn't work, unfortunately, only for those few minutes or hours of the day when you are visualizing and manifesting and having a great positive attitude towards life, and the rest of the 23 hours you're complaining, cribbing, blaming, and saying that, oh, I'm not lucky, or this doesn't work for me, I never get opportunities, people take. So if your entire self-talk for the 24 hours is your electromagnetic frequency. And the self-talk comes from the emotions that you feel, and emotions are energy in motion. What is energy in motion in your body? Is the chemicals that are running in your body. There are 120 plus chemicals running in your body. And your quality of your life, the results of your life, depends on the chemicals that are running in your body.
You have said this earlier at the beginning as well, and you are
Yeah.
reiterating what you said earlier, that the chemicals in
Yes.
our bodies play a very significant role in what happens.
Absolutely. So imagine when you have the positive chemicals on automation, because your brain is the biggest, your body is the biggest chemical factory on this planet. And what sort of chemicals it is producing depends on that. You're going to see the smoke. That's a result of your life.
Okay.
So again, reiterating on this, that manifestation is happening 24 hours. And if your life is not changing or the way you want the results, it's not coming up, there is nothing outside that's stopping you. It's the inside that needs to be checked on. And that goes from, like, it sometimes people, like, get surprised when they realize that the results that are not coming in their life is because of probably that one event happened in their life. Like yesterday, I was dealing with one of the students, and one of our students had challenges in his relationships. He had, earlier broken marriage, second time married, it's not going well, and his business is not doing well, and there were lots of challenges. And when we were dealing with it, we realized that his life story was when he was really young, like 8-year-old boy, his father left home and, left them all. And mother went into a lot of stress and a lot of this emotional challenges. And this boy grew up parenting the mother to not feel what she's feeling. He grew up very early at a young age in his mind. And that block that my father rejected me, abandoned me, and I'm not worthy enough, was causing a problem in his first marriage. Because of that, he was, ignorant about certain aspects that were there, and his marriage, he went through the divorce. And when he started working on that one event that significantly happened in his life, I can't tell you, within 2.5 months' time, his business went to 300% profit. Because now there is, you have a limited energy, everybody. And imagine if there is a tiger in your space, most of your energy is going to go on to focusing on the tiger. So for this man, the tiger was his father living him and going. And his entire energy, unknowingly, consciously, you're focusing on your business and it's still not working. So you're thinking that other people are not good with you or there is something wrong there. But most of your chemicals are focused on the tiger, which has happened when you were 7-8-year-old. And there's no energy left to pursue your goals. And this happens with everybody. It may seem like a one big event, I gave you an example, or there could be a continuous series of experiences that you went through where probably you were in a dysfunctional family, father was an angry man or an alcoholic, and used to come back, home, and all the time there were abuses and emotional, physical violence that you have experienced. It's a continuous terrifying situation going on. And imagine there is a child who's observing all of this. What kind of mental and emotional makeup that person will have? And it's a constant trigger that is there in your space. So where is the focus and where is the energy going to be to create your destiny or create that beautiful manifestation that you're thinking for? So it's a deep inner work that you need to do to get rid of these things so that you are a magnet. So it shouldn't be that difficult for you to attract your results. You are making it difficult because there is a distance between the magnet and the results, and that distance is the life that you have lived earlier.
And so how do we close that distance? How do we achieve that? And as I said, how do we increase our willpower, the procrastination? How can that take a back seat?
So the first thing that you need to understand here is you cannot increase your willpower, because willpower is a conscious mechanism, and your conscious is 5% in 24 hours. So always remember this, your environment is more powerful than your willpower. So most people make this mistake when they think of focusing on the willpower. If you do not change your environment, it's not going to work. I'll give you a simple example. Okay, if someone is a smoker, a chronic smoker, and decides to quit smoking, okay, and he has 50 other people around him, those who are smokers, and they keep blowing rings of smoke on his face, will this person have a willpower to quit that habit? Or the willpower will last for a day, 2-3 days, but every day you're inhaling that smoke, you are going to fall into the trap one more time. Right? But imagine the person is quitting smoking and now has got 50 people around, those who are non-smokers, and those who are clapping, encouraging and asking him that, wow, this is wonderful thing that you're doing, and giving him more and more pleasant feeling. How easy it will become for that person.
So basically reinforcing his positive behavior.
Not just reinforcing the positive behavior, it's a part of us. We all look for, like when we have a pet at home, and when the pet does something and you're like, oh, you're such a good boy, right? We all do that. The same thing we as children have it, right? Imagine when you start walking as a young child, a young baby, how many claps, how many encouragements. Even when you fall down, your mother and your father are like, it's okay, no problem, you'll do it again, let me hold your hand. And you're all given that. So what I'm saying here is, don't focus on the willpower, focus on the environment. Because you got to change your environment, because from that environment, earlier also I mentioned that you're getting more than 40,000 bits of data from your environment. Imagine you want to keep your house clean, okay, and you're doing everything to clean your house, but there is clutter in this area, clutter in that area, and you have people in your life, those are coming and throwing clutters everywhere. What's going to happen? You are automatically going to lose your willpower, because you're going to get tired. There was this wonderful experiment that was done in New York in 1980s. Back then New York was a very, very bad neighborhood. People would say that there is so much not terrorism exactly, there is so much of robbery, there was so much
crime,
of killings and murders, etc. And there were these two scientists, those who actually went there to do the research. They were hired by the government to see what exactly can be changed. When they went there and when they were taking the strolls in that neighborhood, which was considered as the most highest criminals or crime rate in that area, what they observed is, in that area, most of the windows of the houses were broken, most of the doors were broken and cracked. So what they did as an experiment is they simply fixed all the broken windows and they fixed all the doors. They removed all the dump from that area and cleaned the streets. They just took one small area to do this experiment. And over a period of time, just by fixing that environment, what they observed was there were lesser crimes. People were, more adhering to the rules which were given to them. And then slowly, this whole thing was applied in the entire New York and eventually into the entire country. If you look at our country, if you see city of Indore, it is so clean, because people are more conscious about it. Think about you and me. If you are walking into a neighborhood which is dirty, most likely you'll have a banana and you'll throw the peel because it's already dirty. But see, imagine it's a spick and span plate and it's absolutely clean. You will shy away from throwing the peel of banana. You will keep it in your bag and you'll find a proper dustbin and then you will throw there, right? Your willpower changes with the environment around you. So when you want to work on something, first thing, focus on your environment, the people that are in the environment, the things that you have in your environment. If you want to lose weight, simple thing is don't keep the chips and cakes in your environment. Most likely you will not pick up those things, right? And it will work. Like when you say that I fall into the sweet tooth category and after 3-4 days I go back to the same thing. Now that you go because you're relying too much on an environment, too much on the willpower. What if you cut down everything? What if you remove all the home delivery apps that gives you the food? What if you do not keep any sweet food in your house? How often would you go and buy a sweet just because you are having a craving. Most often you will say, okay, whenever I'll go out, I'll buy that time. That moment you're delayed the decision of eating that sweet. And it's the small moments and small decisions that you make delaying those rewards, like, which are causing a problem, is building your willpower.
So basically, you're saying baby steps. Baby steps.
First things in environment. Change your environment, and that will be of 50-60% of job well done.
Okay.
Then it will multiply your willpower, because there is, you're slowly building your brain's ability to delay the gratification. The monkey mind is going to get delayed and delayed and delayed when you don't have those things in your environment. It's very simple.
Right. You spoke about indoor, and I was just thinking, in Goa soon we are going to have, a lot of traffic rules, and they're going to implement, because the cameras are going to come into play. And from the 22nd of May, we are going to become more conscious of our traffic rules. And as you rightly said, if these things, these regulations, rules, or whatever it is, are put in place, we become more mindful, and the change then happens. So yes, we are looking, I think all Goans are looking forward to that we will adhere to the traffic rules. Goa is going to become more safer as far as the traffic is concerned, and we are already a state that is proud of everything around our environment and the greenery and the beauty. So that'll be another feather in our cap.
One thing for sure about Goa is it's a very, very safe place for tourists. That's why the tourism is big in Goa, right?
It is.
You hardly hear any of the crime stories about Goa. Even if there's a single woman traveling, it seems it's a very safe place. So you already have it in your environment, right?
It is. Our environment is good. We are very blessed, Doctor. Now, we've been talking really interesting stuff, but let's take a short break. And don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Doctor has a lot more to share with us. Welcome back to Talk from the Heart. We are in conversation with Dr. Meghna Dixit. She has been giving us some really, really useful tips. And Doctor, we were speaking about willpower, which you explained so beautifully. Now, and other few areas, that procrastination, less concentration, we can't focus.
Another wonderful question. Thank you so much for that. And I feel that I've done a lot of studies and research in understanding why do people today have all of these problems so much. Now, let's take an example. I'm a doctor, so I'm going to explain you this with an example of a medical problem, okay? So say, suppose, I'm sure each one of you have had fever in your life.
Right.
In the past, and you tried taking the medicine off the counter, like maybe paracetamol.
Yeah.
And your fever went away as soon as you took the medicine for 3, 4, 5 hours, and then it started spiking back and you took another medicine. So you kept taking the medicines on your own for 2, 3 days, and the fever didn't go. And you finally realized that, this needs a specialist, this needs an expert, I need to go to the doctor to see if there is something more to it. Mm-hmm. So you go to the doctor does all your checkup and blood works and all, and doctor understands that there's an infection in your body. And he or she writes you the medicine for infection. The moment you take the medicine for infection, your fever just goes away. Mm-hmm. I'm sure all of us have this experience, right?
Yes.
Your procrastination, overthinking, negative thinking, confusion, lack of focus, anxiety, fears, all of these like fears. All of these are like that fever. Right?
That keeps coming up.
We try to fix it we try to fix it up with alarm clocks, maybe writing journal, maybe downloading the various apps to help you. But it lasts for some time, and then it again goes back to its original state where you start procrastinating again, right? Like a classic example of this would be like in the first, day of January, the whole world sets the goals, right? And I've seen this practically because I am a regular workout person for the many years now. Suddenly you'll see, flock of people on the gym, you'll see flock of people on the
On the
joggers
road.
tracks and beach, everywhere. Like, on first week of
True.
January, my God, there's no place to work out or there's no place to walk. By the second week of January, that goes down to 50%. By the third week of January, it goes down to 75%. And by the end of the January, it's that you're going to meet the regular people, those who always meet you for years and years, right? This is classic
Right.
story of any country in this world. So why does this happen? And that's the reason earlier I was telling you that this happens because people focus more on the willpower, whereas it doesn't work. Now, the point here is all of these symptoms that you're talking about are coming from some root cause problem. So your procrastination is actually a guiding force. These problems are your teachers. It's an opportunity for you to go deeper to introspect. Why is it happening to you? Let me give a very simple example. Okay, all of us were born as babies, right? Now, when you're lying down on the bed as an infant and you're very hungry, or probably you wet your nappy, which infant sits quiet and thinks about, okay, whenever somebody will pass, I will ask that person to give me the food, or I will ask that person to change my nappy? Which child does that? Nobody does, right? You feel hungry, you have soiled your pants, you are going to scream and shout and attract people towards you so that they can change you or they can feed you.
Right.
Where did the anxiety, procrastination, negative thinking, confusion was there? Nowhere. Right? You are very proactive. People mostly ask me, I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert. No, everybody on this planet is an extrovert. You learn to be an introvert. You learn to procrastinate. You learn to be anxious. You learn to be fearful. You learn to lack concentration. Now, all of these are just a symptom like that fever. So where is the root cause? And that root cause is nothing else, but that is in your past. It is the emotions that you're experiencing on day-to-day basis that's producing the chemicals, the stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. And because of these excess stress hormones, you're addicted to these stress hormones because the stress hormones are addictive in nature. So say you got over procrastination and you started taking action towards the goal that you have. But your body, trillions of cells of your body are addicted to that adrenaline and cortisol, just like a smoker is addicted to the cigarette. Now, if your body cells are addicted to adrenaline and cortisol, what's going to happen in your space is, the moment you start taking action, the cells of your body are going to be deprived of adrenaline and cortisol. And the moment there's a deprivation happens in your body, these cells are going to start craving for adrenaline and cortisol. And just like a smoker would get a craving to smoke another cigarette to feel better, these cells are going to scream as a negative self-talk to you. And when the negative self-talk happens, automatically adrenaline and cortisol released in your body. And the moment adrenaline and cortisol released in your body, now you build up a stress. So you got out from one toxic relationship to another toxic relationship. You got out of one health issue to another health issue. You don't like your boss and your workplace, you change the job, but then you attract the similar kind of environment in the workplace and similar kind of a boss, because you're addicted to those stress hormones. And that's what is happening in your space when you are procrastinating. It's an addiction to those stress hormones that's making you procrastinate, making you anxious, making you fearful, and all those negative things that we are going through. So the moment you work on those stress hormones, and it's all comes from somewhere in the past experiences. When you work on those, like, when I said that when you can't deal with your own fever, you go to the doctor. So you got to go to an expert who can deal with your past challenges that you experienced, make you come out of those past experiences that you're stuck in, and help you to, on autopilot, generate the happy chemicals or the positive chemicals. Why most people fall into the category of addiction, like porn, gambling, smoking, alcohol, all of these, or social media today is an big time addiction where people are losing concentration. That is happening because there is a vacuum, there is a void inside you that's getting filled by all of these symptoms. that you are experiencing. And once you fill up that vacuum, none of these symptoms will come. These symptoms are actually, these triggers are actually your teachers. And if you learn from them, you can actually make yourself your better version. So that's the reason I also did a TED talk where it talks about your procrastination is your power. The moment you realize what's underneath these symptoms, it gives you an edge over your problems, and that starts creating a better life for yourself.
So what you're saying is, I'm putting it very simply, is that you look at all these, negative habits that you have, and you've got to learn from it, and you need to go deeper. It is not superficial. It is not just saying that I am going to, like you said, quit smoking for today. Tomorrow I'll see. So it's not just that superficial part. We need to go within ourselves to see where is that problem, what is happening, and learn from it, and then take steps towards it. And yes, we can become better versions. And like you said, which I do agree with you, is that sometimes you need a teacher on that path. You may not be able to do it on your own. May not, some can. And having a teacher, a good teacher, holding your hand and telling you what to do is going to help, right? Now, I know a lot of people who are successful, who are really good people who have success not in just one area of their lives, but in various areas. And many of them who I know have a vision board. I have been also recommended, make a vision board and work on it, and like.
Can we retake this?
Yes.
Sorry.
No problem. Okay. So, should I take it from the vision board part? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So, Doctor, I know a lot of people who are doing well, who are successful in many areas of their lives. I mean, not just one, like most of us, but many areas. And they're really good, solid people. And most of them, of these people who I know, have a vision board. They work on this vision board of theirs. How does a vision board help you to overcome all the hurdles, to look deep within and achieve that goal, that objective that can make you successful in all areas of your life?
Lovely question. And so you remember I was talking earlier about the environment, right? And
Right.
I was talking about your subconscious mind is absorbing more than 40,000 bits of data every single moment,
Right.
So rather than reminding yourself of your goals and what you want to achieve in that year or in your life, how about placing something in your environment as a reminder itself? So it's not something that you need to focus on consciously, but if there is a vision board in your environment, maybe your screensaver on the phone, or maybe a laptop saver, or maybe an actual vision board on your wall somewhere, that has all the areas mentioned on it: your health, your relationships, your career, your money, what are your personal goals, how would you like to be this year, and things like that. So if you have all of that placed on the vision board, and imagine that for 24 hours, without your knowledge, your brain is absorbing that information out of that 40,000 bits of data, and the reputation it's creating inside, will it start then attracting the results in your life? Also, will it start helping you to take those actions? Because now you're changing your environment. Now willpower is not required. When it is there all the time, your brain is attracting it like a magnet. So, and second of your brain is, your brain does not understand the words. What it understands is image. So if I ask you to spell an apple, right, or look at the apple, have you seen an apple? you will most likely see an apple. Apple as in red apple or a green apple or maybe a Apple logo. Sometimes people see today's, or even if you see the word apple, you will see it APPLE as the words, like a image of the word, right? So our brain processes every information through the images. So when you put a vision board in your surroundings, in your environment, your brain is constantly absorbing that data unconsciously. And when you have an unconscious input in your brain, it's making your 24 hours input. It's not just that 23, half an hour, 1 hour thing of the day. Now it has become a 24-hour thing. Imagine every time you're opening your phone and the screensaver is opening up your vision board. Imagine when you start typing a password or your screensaver opens up on the laptop, it's your vision board. Imagine you have a blow-up image of your vision board in front of you. The life will become very effortless. And this is my personal experience. I've been doing vision board for myself for the last now 9-10 years. And the more I've been doing this, the more I've realized in the last 5 years is everything that I've put it on the vision board, I've achieved in that year. And if I've not achieved some things that are bigger ones in that year, they have gone into the subsequent year and I've achieved in the next couple of years. So you see, like I was talking about earlier about the law of attraction, that there is law of vibration. There is another law, which is law of germination. Law of germination is very simple. See, when you sow a seed in the soil, when you nurture it, when you remove the weeds and you're taking care of it, it does sprout at its own time, right?
Yes.
So same as vision board, that's like sowing your seed. And then, nurturing it, then taking actions towards it, which becomes more effortless rather than being like, oh, I want to remember to take this action. No, that's right there in front of you. And unconscious messaging is way more powerful than the conscious messaging. So the vision boards are a kick-ass strategy if you really want to stay on track with achieving your goals.
Good. As soon as I finish the show and I go back home, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my vision board. It sounds very encouraging. It sounds so positive. And from what you have said, it's a tried and tested, formula for success. So hopefully even our viewers will, adopt this and we will see results. Now, we have time for just about another 2 questions. Doctor, what is the reticular activation system that I was reading your website, I'd gone onto your website and I read this, but I wasn't very sure what it was. I didn't want to look it up because they said you would be the best person.
The reticular activation system is a part of your nervous system, which is at the hindbrain at the back of your head. And reticular activation system is a bundle of nerves. Now, this bundle of nerves works for your safety, your protection, and your comfort. And this is our oldest navigation system on this planet.
Right.
We today use the Google navigation system to navigate us to go from one place to another. But this is the oldest navigation system that is there in your system. Let me give a simple example of reticular activation system. So I'm sure you have recently bought something in your life, maybe a mobile, a car, a bike, or a laptop, or some clothes, or maybe the colors, etc. Okay. Have you started noticing suddenly those things around you more? Like, I'll give an example. Okay. So about 3 years back, I bought a car, and it has a very distinct blue color, okay, which is like a beautiful blue color. And I bought it and I started, going everywhere in that car. And suddenly I started noticing the same model, the same color everywhere. Okay. And I'm thinking, how did this happen? Like, I'm sure the color is blue, so it's very, very vibrant color that you can easily notice everywhere. But now that I have bought it, now suddenly I started seeing it everywhere.
You see more of it.
More of it, right? So it would be stupid to say that just because I bought it, everybody bought it.
Yes.
Just because I bought it, now I started noticing it. Yes. And it is our experience at the smallest of the things that you have or the bigger things that you have got in your life, right? Now, how do you do that is with your reticular activation system. Think of reticular activation system as a nightclub bouncer.
Okay.
And it only allows the members or the people, those who have bought the tickets, to enter the nightclub.
Okay.
And
Could I just interrupt? You know, I just want to say that the metaphors that you use are so interesting. I mean, they stick in your mind, and it's like, oh my God, you know, what is she saying? So yes, please continue. But I had to say that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, when you see, the bouncers will only allow the people, those who have the passes or the members, and rest of the people will be waiting outside because the bouncer will not allow you to come in.
Right.
Another example of reticular activation system is, suppose you're in a very crowded place where you hardly can hear a person sitting next to you, their voice, okay?
Right.
But suddenly from the end of the room, someone calls out your name. Can you hear it? We all have this common experience, right? We do hear our name everywhere.
Yes.
That's again your reticular activation system. So reticular activation system is your navigation system. It's your compass to navigate into your life. It is also your magnet to attract the experiences in your life. And the interesting part about reticular activation system, it is controlled by your past experiences. Whatever is repeated in your space, consciously and unconsciously, is the password of your reticular activation system. So say if someone has gone through a negative experience in the past and they keep thinking about it, now that has become the password of your bouncer. Now when you're navigating in your life, there are hundreds of positive experiences, but for this bouncer, it is looking at that negative experience and it's automatically getting drawn towards it because that's familiar. Even if, we all say known devil is better than unknown.
Yes.
So then we get attracted towards this familiarity, and your bouncer doesn't understand whether it's a positive or a negative experience. It just sees that it is repeated in your mind and it just gets attracted to the same thing. So then it's like, think about it, that you're living in a building and there is a security guard on the building. It allows the residents to enter the building with easy, like no questions, but the strangers are stopped.
Correct.
Right? Your past experiences are like those residents of the building. And when you see the same patterns coming in your life again and again and again, these are the residents of the building. So they are welcome without any questions. But when you set your goals, these are the strangers. So your bouncer is going to say, hey, I don't know you, stay out.
Right.
So that's the reason most people fall into the same toxic patterns and behaviors, because your reticular activation system, unfortunately, doesn't understand what is good or bad. It only understands what is familiar and what is unfamiliar.
So how do doctor, how do we make that bouncer understand that this person has a pass, this person is a member of the club, so as to say, I'm using your metaphor that you have used, and say, how do I make that change? Can I let that bouncer accept that new membership now?
Yeah, so the new membership can be only accepted with reputation of the new member. Now, how do you make it a new member? The two things that you need to do in this case is you repair your past and you prepare for your future. So repairing your past means you have to reduce the impact of the past experiences, and it's very possible to do with various techniques that you can use to reduce the impact that you had of the past experiences. You have to go to an expert or someone who knows about it, and that person will be able to reduce that impact. How do you prepare for your future? One of them I already shared about the vision board. It is preparing for your future. The more that repetition happens, the bouncer is going to be friendly with your goals. The second thing that you can do is you can acquire new skill set, which is going to help you to become a better version of yourself, or which is required for you to become that future version.
Great. Doc, you have told us so much. You've given us such useful tips, and you have told us different things that from what we have known and what we have been believing in. I think not just me, but even all the viewers have learnt a lot from you. Thank you so very much for taking the time, and being so patient with us and with our little connectivity issues. But thank you so much. And to our viewers, thank you for your time, for your patience, for your attention. As I have said to Doctor, she has given us a lot of tips which we can use, which are useful, and also which will bring about that change in our life if we want to. From all of us, Doctor, thank you very much. From our viewers, from the Goa 365 team, from Navin Times. And until next time, to our viewers, take care, and we'll see you soon.